Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll show you how to filter sorting and pagination in Angular using ASP.NET Web API. So guys, if you are new to ASP.NET Web API and Angular, you'll go through my playlist. I'll show you in this video. So you'll go through my channel and there are ASP.NET Web API tutorial playlist and Angular latest version. And if you are new to Angular, then go to my playlist Angular CLI tutorial. So before going through this current session, that is the filter sorting and pagination, we'll go through the part 41 of ASP.NET Web API tutorial. Here I had already shown the step-by-step process, that is how to create a ADO.NET entity data model and how to integrate it with your web API to get the records. So let's continue with my presentation. So guys, here I'll create the web API endpoints to display data and design the Angular material user interface to perform filter, sorting and pagination. If there is no record, then we will set the message called no record found message using Angular material. So I'll go through the notes which I already made and there is some step-by-step process. Okay, so guys, first of all, step 1 is I'll create a table called user details and check the records in SQL Server DB. Okay, so I'll go through my SQL Server. So this is the table script, that is user details, and these are the columns, and this primary key and the identity column I have set. Okay, and here is my dummy records I have inserted to this table. There's total 14 records: user ID, username, email ID, gender, address, mobile number and pin code. So this is all about the step 1. Let's discuss about the step 2. Create ADO.NET entity data model to map the user details table. So guys, I already have made many videos on how to create a ADO.NET entity data model in Web API. So you'll go through my playlist ASP.NET Web API tutorial, where I have already created videos for how to create ADO.NET entity data model to map the table and procedures. Okay, so I'll show you. For this step 2, I'll go to my SQL Server. This is my Web API application. Okay, and you can see this is the Satya model.edmx, right? So if you create a ADO.NET entity data model, there is the edmx file will be created. So if you expand this, so see here, while I create the ADO.NET entity data model, it is asking which table or procedure you want to map. So I have mapped to this table called user details. So my ADO.NET entity data model, it's create the table as converted to CS file. So whatever columns, it will show us as entity or properties here with the type. So this is all about the ADO.NET entity data model. So step 3 is we need to check web.config for connection string. So guys, here if you go to the web.config, so you can create as much as you can the ADO.NET entity data model. So here I already created a 2. Okay, so this 2 was not required, only this ADMX file I required for my web API in this session. So as per my understanding, you can create many more than one ADMX files, and how many ADMX file you have created, based on that it will create the connection string, right? See here I have 2 ADMX, so that it is created 2 connection strings. So this first one I have used for this session, that is, you see here, while you create the ADO.NET entity data model, there is no need to create the connection string manually. The system will create for you by default. Okay, and this is the connection string and the data source. This is my data source name and this is DB name. Okay, so this is the line where what is system created while I create the ADO.NET entity data model. Okay, and using this add name, I will retrieve my data from the database. So let's discuss about the step 4. So here I'll create the API endpoint to get the all user details. So I'll go to the web API application. So see here guys, I have created one route prefix. This is the existing controller which I have created in my part 41 of ASP.NET Web API tutorial. So in the existing controller, I have created a route prefix as API/user API, and this is the class file which derived from API controller base class, and this is the route, all user, and the HTTP GET request. Okay, and this enumerable of user detail is same as the user details table class file, right, for ADO.NET entity data model, and this method name is user details. So I have instantiated using the enumerable of user detail, and this is the object. Okay, initially it is a string, response is empty. So in the try block, I instantiate the SatyaDB entities with nothing but my ADO.NET entity data model. It is the name of SatyaDB entities in the connection string of web.config. So using the object entity, I can access the user details properties, right, and it will store in list user. That means all the property values will be stored here, and this is the, if any exception inside the catch block, it will be handled, and return all list user, that is all the properties along with values. So this is the code for that is the get all user. It will return all the user details from this user details table, and it will display in our Angular user interface, and based on that we can filter the records, can perform the paginations and sorting. Okay, this is all about the code for web API endpoint. So let's discuss the step 5. We need to create a employee component. So this create an employee component, I'll go to my VS Code. So this is my Angular project. Okay, so internet terminal, new terminal, and this Angular project I have used all my Angular videos. So if you go to my Angular latest version tutorial playlist, you can see this Angular project is used all my videos, so that I have created step-by-step process in these videos. So here I'll go to my VS Code. This is the terminal. Okay, I'll copy this command nggc employee. If you type here and create, so you can see if you expand this app folder inside employees, you can see all the employee component related files has been created. So step 6, we need to create an interface, and this command is nggc interface. Inside model folder iUser. Okay, and inside I'll write all the properties of employee class related to an employee. So here inside model folder there is iuser.ts. okay, the same way this command is ngg interface model slash iuser. So if you go to this terminal and execute this, once you execute, you can see inside model folder there is one ts file created, and these are the properties, right, inside the export interface iUser, and whatever the columns I have created in my table, the same entities we need to create here: user ID, username, email ID, gender, address, mobile number, and pin code. So this is about the step 6. Step 7 is we need to create a service, and this is the command nggs employee, and we'll import necessary class and libraries. So same way we need to execute this command in our terminal, and once you successfully created, I'll go to my employee service. Okay, so this is the employee service, right? Employee.service.ts, employee.service.spec.ds. So if you open the employee.service.ts, okay, here I'll describe the code here as I mentioned the step. Okay, we need to import all necessary class and libraries, that is this one, the class libraries, and the user interface what I created we need to import as well. This is the path of this file, right? If you put over the mouse, you'll get the you can get the detail of or total path of this file. Okay, this is the path of the user interface, and you can see this is injectable, and this export class employee service, this is the URL my web API, right? So this is the localhost URL. I'll show you this URL while I run my web API application, and this is the all user method. Okay, it will return the get request, and this is the URL, nothing but this one, plus API slash user API. This is the route prefix and this is the route. If you go to my application, web API application, you can see this is the route prefix and this is the route. So that's the thing. I have created this one to concatenate with both using URL. Okay, so as I told you, if you put our mouse here in the user interface, you can see the full path of it, right? So same way I have created here all the configure the service part to call the web API using URL and route prefix and route. Okay, so this is the method here. This method will call it in our upcoming files so that we can consume the web API. Okay, so close this one. I'll go to the next step. So step 8, we need to install and configure Angular material theme. So for that, this is the command npm installs --safe @angular/material. So this is the first command you need to execute in your terminal. Then second command npm install for Angular CDK, and third command is Angular animation. So these three commands you need to execute separately using the terminal. So once you execute successfully, okay, I'll go to my Angular project. I'll show you inside the node_module folder. So before that, I'll show you my if you install successfully, it will reflect inside the node_modules folder. If you expand the node_modules folder, add the Angular and material, and inside you'll see all the details of it, right? So you can assure that your Angular material packages has been installed successfully. So step 9 is, if you are new to Angular material, you should go to this website, Angular material official site. Okay, and here I'll check the Angular material inside node_module folder. So as I told you, after installation of Angular material successfully, it will go to the I'll show you my project folder, node_module folder inside Angular and material, and you can see all the folders has been found here, right? Same way you can see in VS Code as well. As I shown you, the same process you can see is using your Angular project structure. Step 10 is after install Angular material successfully, we can check in package.json file. So if you expand the package.json, okay, and here you can see what is the Angular material version is installed here, right? So you can check as well, and Angular animation and Angular CDK. So you can check in your package.json. So next step is we need to create a separate module for adding the library. This is the command ng generate module material/Angular material, and I'll add the required code. So you need to execute this command. After then you can see, if you go to the my Angular project, right, there is one material folder and Angular material.module.ts. So these are the import statements we need to import to our Angular material module.ts to support the material packages in our implement the Angular material packages in our project. Okay, so here you can see all the import statements, that is A11Y module, drag module, portal module, scrolling module. So you can see it is from this path, right? So these are the import statements we need to use here for all kinds of Angular material packages. For example, if you are Angular CDK table, right, if you want to import this one, and if you are for Angular sort, material sort, you need to import the statements. If you are using Angular material table, you need to import the statements here. So I have import all the Angular material packages, so that all the import statements I have used. After then, that's all the import statements values, whatever the values here you can see, I have used inside the exports module, exports array, right? So inside the exports array, I have used all these import statements values, and this is the export class Angular material model. So I'll drag from top to bottom to capture these import statements as well to support the Angular material packages. So this is all about for Angular material.module.ts. Step 12 is we need to add library in app.module. So I'll expand the app.module. So app.module also need to import some statements, right? So these are the input and import statements. So here I have created the Angular material module, right? So same module file is imported here, and this is the path, whatever the shown you earlier, right? This is the path of the Angular material module, and I imported here. The same thing we need to use inside the declaration array. Okay, and as well as imports array, there is the some matter related packages import values and the providers, and this is the bootstrap. This employee service is provider section used for if you are using the external APIs. You need to implement here the employee service import value, this one. Okay, so I will drag from top to bottom to capture this code. So this is the code for app.module.ts file. Step 13, so there is add filter, pagination and sorting functionality, and what is this, for the definition. So I'll discuss these points in my after this output. So I have already captured in my presentation PowerPoint. Step 14, we need to implement this filter, pagination and sorting in class employee component class, that is employee.component.ts. Okay, so there is one file that is employee component.ts, right? So you need to import these statements. This is the user interface, these are the material table data source if you are using material table, and this is the employee service, what is the consume for APIs, and Angular material paginator and Angular sorting. This is the component, and this is the all user, create the IE user interface, data source, display columns. These are all the column names I have mentioned here. Okay, and I have used the mat paginator and the sorting for mat sort it assigned to, and there is constructor which service is derived from employee service, and this is the method I have created inside the employee service, so that I can call here, and I can access this data source paginator and sort ng on init. So there is paginator and sort and apply filter method. So this is used for filter the records. So this method I have created here, and I'll call this method in our HTML file. So this is for filter the records. So I'll drag from top to bottom to capture the code for employee.component.ts. This is the functionality of implementing pagination, sorting and filter the records in Angular. So this is the code for employee.component.ts. So implement Angular material UI, so employee.component.html. so here I'll open the employee.component.html. okay, and you can see it everywhere I've used mat hyphen. So this is nothing but our Angular material implementation. So this is the toolbar I have used as a header, and this is for text box to filter the records, and inside the key of I have used the apply filter, called the apply filter method, which is implemented in our TS file, right? And this is the div tag and the data source for Angular material to type the records, and every column I have used the ng container. That means it will be bind to the table using the column definitions and the column values, cell definition, right? So here user ID, this is for user ID column value, this is for username, this is for email ID, this is for gender, and this is for address, and this is for mobile number, and the last one is pin code. And this is for Angular material display columns, and the display columns it will be display here. And if the records not found, if for example the user will filter the records based on some parameters, and the record not found, so this will show as a no records found. And for pagination, there is page size option 5, 10, 25, 100 per page, and the div tag closed. This is the code for employee.component.html. So I will capture the code from dragging from top to bottom. Okay, so this is the code for employee.component.html. So step 16, I'll go to the app.component.html and set the start page. Okay, and after then I'll discuss all other components as well, app components. So here I go to the app.component .html. So see here, this is the selector I have called here for set the start page. So this selector is nothing but for employee. So this selector will be found inside the TS file. So this is the selector, right? We need to use in the opening and closing tag inside the app.component.html, so that when the Angular application load, it will set the start page and display the UI of employee component. Okay, so this is the code for app.component.html. As I discussed, I will discuss the other app components as well. So this is other app components like app.module.ts, which I already have described, and app.component.ts, this is nothing code here, and app.component.html I already have discussed. App.component.css, there is no CSS file. App-routing.module.ts for routing purpose, but here is the default code, no implementation here. So this is the step 16 for app component related files. Step 17, we need to go to index.html and show the code. So index.html, yeah, here, right? So this is the code. When our Angular application will load, first of all the index.html will be load based on the selector. It will call to the app-root is the selector of app component file. If you open the app.component.ts, you can see the selector. So this selector you need to implement here, okay, inside the index.html, and it will call to this app component, and app component calling to our employee component, because employee component selector is used inside the app component HTML. Okay, so this is the selector we need to use for of app component in the index.html, and this is the code for index.html. So step 18, we need to set the cross origin resource sharing in web API. If you open the web API and expand the app_start web API config.cs file, this is used for CORS, and this is the namespace we need to use. So CORS is cross origin resource sharing. That is, if you want to consume your web API in external applications like Angular, React, other applications, so you need to use the CORS. And step 19, we need to run Angular app. Before that, we need to run our web API application. So I need to run my web API application here. So guys, here you can see my Angular app, my web API is running successfully, and I can see the response. So this is the URL for localhost, and this is the route prefix API/user API and all user, and I can get all the response, all the records from user details table. Okay, and remember this one I have used in our employee service, right? If you expand use the employee service.ts, okay, I can see this is the localhost URL of my web API, and along with this is the route prefix and route, so that I can consume my web API in our Angular application. So I'm getting the response successfully, so I can able to consume our API in our Angular application. I can see the result in the Angular material UI. So as per step 19, I need to run Angular app. So I'll go to the my Angular project, three dot, new terminal, and here I'll type my command ngser. So guys, my Angular application is compiled successfully, right? And I'll show step 19 is already run the Angular app, and my Angular application is compiled successfully. I'll show the output. So to show the output, I'll go to VS Code and I'll copy this URL of Angular which I generated while compile. Okay, so copy this URL 4200, go to the browser, so see here guys, this is the title I have set in our index.html, and this is the header I have set in employee component, and there is discuss three things: how to filter, how to pagination, and how to sort. So for filter, there is a text box here, and for sorting, you see each column has its upper arrow, right? So if you click on this username for sorting, you see here automatically adjust the value. First it will showing A, C, F, right, and it's sorting as well. So for each column you can sort the records. So I'll discuss the step by step. First of all, I need to show the filter the records, right? So to filter records, I'll type here Satyaprakash. So I can see one result here, and there is showing 1 of 1. So if I select here how many female records there, you can see total 5 female records. It's showing 1 of 5, right? So you can filter using based on all the column values, right? If you address based on address, you need to search, copy this and search here. You can see this is one row is showing 1 of 1, and based on the pin code, if you want to search, right, so you select here, you can see this based on pin codes is filter the records. So you can filter records based on all the column values. Second thing, we need to sort the values, sort the records. So if you click on this user ID, you can sort the records by clicking on this. So you see here it is sorting based on the ascending order, then descending order. The arrow is up or in the upper arrows. In the it's inside the upper arrows and the downwards arrow, right? So based on the username also you can sort the records, that is ascending and descending order. You can also sort the email IDs, also gender name, address. You can sort the mobile number, and you can sort the pin code for ascending and descending order. So if you click on this arrow for sorting, the arrow is downwards, right? So this is the sorting. So let's check about pagination. So see here, I have set here 5, 10, 25, 100 per page. If you select 10, 10 records is showing. If you select 25, 25 records, and if you select 100, all the records will be shown here. So here a total I have 14 records, so that within 10, within 25 it's showing all the records values. So if you select the 5, it's showing 5 records per page. And there is, you can next page, you can select here next, you can select 6 of 14, 11 of 14 as well, and also you can check the previous page as well. So guys, this is all about for how to perform pagination in Angular Material UI. So let's check about how it is showing in other devices. So right click on inspect element. So see here the devices, right? You can select. So if you see device the iPad Pro, right, and select a 75%, so it is the multiple support device support, that is as a bootstrap. So Angular material is inbuilt with bootstrap is inbuilt with the Angular material. So based on the device screen and width and size, width and height, it will adjust the screen to the based on the device screen. So one more thing we need to discuss, that is how to identify our API is consumed in our Angular application using inspect element. So there is a network tab. If you select here, refresh the page, right, and you see here one all user, it's showing, right, this route. So this is nothing but our API endpoints. So if you right click on, open new tab, or you can select here, you can see in the response I'm getting all the API response. So there is headers preview. In the preview, all the arrays, my rows is showing here, all the response within arrays: address, email ID, gender, mobile number, pin code, user and username, total 14 records. And this is the response I'm getting as a JSON. This is initiator and timing. So in this way, you can identify the external APIs in our Angular application. So guys, in this way we can implement filtering, pagination and sorting in our Angular application using Angular material and web API application as well. So let's note. So I discussed all these points, step-by-step process to how to create web API, how to consume in our Angular application, and how to perform filter, pagination and sorting in our Angular application as well. Let's go to the my presentation. Here I'll show some definitions of the filter, pagination and sorting. So this add filter, pagination and sorting functionality, and what is mat-table and provide data. How to define the column templates is in Angular material, and what is data source, and know about the pagination, and what is sorting, how to implement the sorting here, and what is filtering. So these are the definitions which will be helpful for you identify to know about the things about Angular material. So guys, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.